Area Board of School Directors. This meeting is a live in-person meeting open to the public in accordance with the Sunshine Act. Excuse me 1 second, I'll turn my cell phone off. By participating in this meeting, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and future viewing of this meeting. In addition, a board member is video and audio taping the meeting for his own personal use. The recording is not supported or maintained by the district or the board and should not be considered an authorized recording. This meeting is also being live streamed as a convenience to the public. In the event the live streaming fails or cannot be transmitted for any reason, the in-person meeting will continue without interruption. Ms. Gary, could I have a roll call, please?
Stephen Yerger.
Here.
Carl Thompson.
Here.
Wayne Sullivan.
Here.
Janelle Ressler.
Here.
Fred Miller.
Here.
Nick Lovell.
Here.
Brian Lawyer.
Here.
Mary Brennan.
Here.
Danielle Brennan. Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any board acknowledgements and announcements?
I actually do. I know graduation went really well. It was great to see the students out. Lots of smiling faces, emotional time for everybody. As my husband stated last week, we had a great flyover by a gentleman who graduated from Lewistown and was willing to donate his time, resources, money. However, it was determined that a board member actually tried to tarnish the reputation of this young man. He was a pilot who has been selflessly performing flyovers at graduation and homecoming and football games the last several years. This board member falsely reported to the FAA that the pilot was flying too low over the stadium, and this board member's allegation has since been proven false, and this young gentleman was exonerated. However, due to this, he is no longer going to be performing flyovers again. And unfortunately, this is sad because it takes away from this. It was a beautiful thing, a wonderful thing. I know lots of students, staff, and families really enjoyed this. And this is a big loss for our school district. So we just got that information today, and I wanted to share that. So that's, again, a big loss for our district.
Memorable time.
Yes.
Everybody in the statement of.
Yeah.
Any other board acknowledgements or announcements? Hearing none. On public comment. We recognize members of the public who have signed up to provide public comment as stipulated in policy 903. When your name is called, please approach the podium, state your name, confirm that you're a resident or a taxpayer in the district and topic of discussion for the record. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not an individual. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The privilege to speak may be interrupted, revoked, or a recess of the meeting may be called by the chair if the speaker does not observe reasonable decorum and orderly conduct. Thank you. First up is Ms. Bonnie Shoemaker.
Excuse me, this me. Hello, I'm Bonnie Shoemaker, and I'm a teacher here at Littlestown Area School District for 33 years, and a resident and a taxpayer of Littlestown for over 37 years, and I've had 2 children go through the school system, and they're quite successful, and I'm proud of that. I'd like to thank all of the board members, first of all, for their service, and because I know this is a non-paid position and it takes a lot of pressure and a lot of your own time, and I appreciate that. And that everyone should. But I also like you to remember that these meetings are public and recorded. And I have listened to these meetings from my home, and I get a little disappointed at the lack of knowledge of some of the board members about their role in education. School boards are policy-making bodies responsible for developing and revising policies that govern the action of the board and the school district's employees. These policies provide the framework and the guardrail for district activities and ensure school districts' actions comply with state and federal law. The role of the school board is to ensure that the school districts are responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of the communities, but members that disregard ideas from the superintendent or are behaving counter to the written rules of conduct cause the district to look bad. And when I'm sitting at home and I'm listening to this, sometimes it makes me wonder how our perception as a Littlestown school system is taking it. I'd also like to say that the administration is the arm of the board and has been hired to help direct you through the needs of the school system. They are the educators and the ones that are educated. And I've been around the district a long time. In fact, I've taught several of the board members themselves and the administration staff and board members' children, okay? And we have a great administration staff right now, we do. And they should be seen as an asset to the school district and the board. And I ask that you let them do their job, which includes looking at and improving key test scores. I'm not saying for you to follow without asking questions, but to have some trust in the administration to lead you properly because they are educated and they know the education system. We are lucky to have such good people in our key positions, and we'd like to keep them. And for that to happen, we must treat them with respect and have them know that Littlestown appreciates them. We as a district are going to lose key administrations if this less than professional behavior of the board meeting continues. I ask that instead of me attitude, we look at the big picture, the success of the LASD as a whole. I also like to ask the people who post about the Littlestown on Facebook and other social medias to remember that some of them are facilitators, and facilitators are to be providing indirect, unobtrusive assistance. Their opinion is important, but should be stated in the opinion underneath, not in the direct message that's going out, because people are believing their opinion rather than knowing what's fact and what is not fact. And I would like to remind the people, I pay taxes just like everybody else pays taxes. My father-in-law's on a fixed income, and I'd like to have you please look to the state for tax reform rather than the school board, because the school board cannot do tax reform. It has to be the state. And I would like to congratulate my new superintendent and my new assistant superintendent, and I'm surely hoping that I get a good principal to go with the one that left. I thank you very much.
Okay. And Susan Johnson.
So I'm Suzanne Johnson. My daughter attends Maple Island Middle School. So prior to public comment, last week's work session began with an assertion that the district has never come up short on expenditures versus revenue after receiving final state allocations. Per the general fund year-to-date report attached to today's agenda, again, this is fact, not opinion, this year's total budgeted expenditures exceeded revenues. Thus, the district began the 2023-2024 school year with a budget deficit of $1.2 million and did in fact come up short after receiving final state funding last summer. We'll have to see where things end up for the 2023-2024 school year when the actual revenues and expenditures are known and the audit is complete. Crossing fingers. For the upcoming school year, the estimated 2024-2025 budget deficit is $1.3 million before state funding is finalized. Looking at the March 5th finance presentation, the governor's proposal could result in a best case scenario of $1.3 million change after the state funding. But there's almost 0% chance of getting everything the governor asked for. There does seem to be bipartisan support for cyber charter funding, resulting in a possible decrease in the district's spending by $350,000 to $400,000. So the 2024-2025 budget deficit could possibly be $1 million instead of $1.3 million. after state funding is finalized, so the district will likely come up short for the second year in a row when state funding is finalized. If expenditures exceed revenues, then the district may need to transfer funds to the unassigned fund from something such as my middle school, high school assigned fund or some other assigned fund in order to pay the bills. Again, this is something that other districts have done. For example, Upper Adams School District is doing that right now to avoid a tax increase this year. The interim superintendent and school board leadership have asserted that the district is in a positive financial position. However, the majority of the school board continues to support budgeted expenditures that exceed revenue. How does this result in a positive financial position for the district? Now turning to adding a second armed security officer as a district employee. Review of student infraction reports as provided after 6 months of requests and a right to know request shows few potentially criminal or violent incidents that would require intervention by a safety officer, no more than 1.5 incidents per day on average. Based on these facts, my personal belief is that maintaining an armed security officer, just one, seems sufficient with support from Littlestown Police Department as needed. Tonight's agenda also includes a request to maintain the 6th mental health position, which we have jumped through hoops to prove that is needed. Based on data from the right to know request, about 90% of student infractions are non-criminal, non-violent behaviors, about 17.5 incidents per day, supporting the continued need for mental health resources. Looks like maybe we're going to end up only with 5 mental health resources, with 2 psychologists, 1 mental health therapist, and 2 behavior specialists. Dr. Fiaski has provided information about the impact of having only 1 behavior specialist, but we haven't expanded upon what the impact of having only 1 mental health therapist would be. Will the district have to pay for additional external placements because they can't provide the needed learning environment for the students? Finally, there are some serious transparency concerns with how this school board and our interim superintendent operate. The latest example being leadership's decision from last week's work session to prevent the public from accessing the draft agenda for tonight's voting meeting. It appears this is a means to limit public review and suppress public feedback, which is important when discussing issues at the work sessions, which are the basis for each member's decision on how they're going to vote. Will school board members encourage and actually address the public feedback at tonight's meeting before voting? For example, the public was provided insufficient time to review the high school's target book list containing 570 pages of materials. You gotta wonder if any of these books are on the American Library Association's list of most challenging books, and whether the amount of discarded books is significantly more than prior years. Further, there's questions about the financial impact of replacing these with digital resources if the plan is to move to a digital learning commons in the new building. Transparency is also concerned with last week's changes to the school board's email protocols. How is the board member forwarding the administration's response, increasing school board responsiveness, when that response was already going to be sent by the superintendent based on prior precedent? And if the school board and administration responses are now commingled, how are you increasing transparency if the original sender is unable to distinguish between what is the administration versus elected officials' response? Your constituents didn't vote for administration and expect the school members themselves to be accountable to the voters. Thank you.
All right, Steve, you're up.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ezra was last.
Okay.
Hey, look. It's a crazy mess. Okay. I need a motion to approve the regular board meeting of May 2024.
So moved. Second.
Any comment, concern,
Yes,
discussion?
I do, Carl.
Yes.
I noticed a few inaccuracies in the regular board meeting minutes. Under A, under the 2024-2025 proposed final budget, they have 5 to 4 nays from Lavelle, Miller, Sullivan, and Brenneman. They probably should have put Mary Brenneman or Daniel Brenneman. That should have been specified. And also, under the personnel report, down on L, let's see, back to that personnel, L, you have, unless we've got an extra board member, you have 7 to 3 nays from Sullivan and Miller.
Okay, I'll adjust.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that.
So which was the first one? Item A?
Yeah, item A. Yeah, where it says Brenneman, you just have Brenneman instead of M. Brenneman or D. Brenneman.
This is under personnel or this is
No, it would be under the,
Oh, under budget.
yeah,
Under
the
Okay,
budget.
okay. So, okay.
Yeah, I see you on there already.
Yeah,
Oh, it's you,
so-
okay.
Yeah.
I just
And
wanted to
then
bring
the
that to your
other one
attention.
was- go back down, that was under personnel.
Yeah, it was L under personnel. And if you see, it says 7-3 on the vote.
Okay. I don't know.
It's
Got
just
it.
72.
Yeah.
No, I knew it was a typo. I just wanted to bring it up before we approved it,
Yeah,
that's
we'll
all.
adjust it.
No, that's cool. It's not a big deal. I just thought I would bring it up.
Thank you.
And I guess that's it, Carl, sorry.
Any other comment? Okay. Those voting aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to move the Finance and Property Supply Committee meeting from June 4th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to move the Curriculum and Co-Curriculum and Policy Committee meeting of June 4th, 2024.
So moved. I'll second it. And I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Get that, Carrie.
It's okay, I'm a good pen now, so.
Okay, just break whatever. It doesn't matter.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I need a motion to move the work session from June 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? In case you had no typos on this last one.
No, I looked wrong.
Those in favor signify by
It's an
saying
honest
aye.
mistake.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I wasn't
And
picking on it.
No, I don't know.
typing is not fun anyway, so.
No, it's not. No,
That
it's
was a big
horrible.
agenda.
Right.
That was huge. No,
Steve, it's
not.
back to you.
Okay, under the Finance, Property, and Supply Committee report, does anyone have any items they wish to pull and be voted on separately?
You want to pull A?
That has to be pulled.
Oh, okay. E, F, G, H, J, L, O, P, R, and T. T1.
Could you do that again, please?
I'm sorry. A, E, F, G, H, J, L, O, P, R, and T1, and I'd like roll call vote
On what?
on all of them.
I'm not gonna roll call on all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll call on all of them.
Not roll calling all that, there's no reason to. There is for A, by law, we have to do the rest of them. No,
So you're not gonna honor my request?
I'm not honoring that request, no. Not on all those, no.
Okay. So do I keep these pulled, or do I
Keep
have?
them pulled,
Okay, all
it's
right,
just a regular yay, nay, other than A, which has to be roll call.
okay. So, in the form of a motion, I recommend approval of the items that were not pulled, which would be B, C, D, K, M, N, Q, and I believe L.
No, I.
Aye?
I, not L. L was pulled.
And then,
I have a motion on the board to approve B, C, D, I, K, M, N, and Q.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
All those, any discussion on those letters? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed, refused.
Okay. In the form of a motion, recommend approval of items, okay, I already did that, approve, all right. In the form of a motion, recommend approval of, well, we're gonna do A first.
Just A, E, yeah, just do one at a time.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Read it.
Yeah. A, E.
No, just A.
Okay, thank you.
Each one that's circled, just do seven.
All right. In the form of a motion, recommend approval of A.
Okay, all right. I have a motion motion on the floor to recommend approval and adoption of the resolution implementing the 2024-2025 fiscal year final budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, Casey, none. Your name's Casey now, yes, Gary. Gary, would you please do the roll call vote?
Janelle Ressler,
Yes.
Dwayne Sullivan,
No.
Carl Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Yerger,
Yes.
Danielle Brenneman,
No.
Mary Brenneman,
Yes.
Brian Lawyer,
Yes.
Nick Lovell,
No.
Fred Miller.
No.
Five.
The vote is 5-4, the budget passes. And those that did vote no, we respect your opinions, and it is a tough thing to do, and I respect it very much so. Moving on to E, your next one.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the stock and leader contract year 2024-2025.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the stock and leader contract of 2024-2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
I have discussion.
Yes.
I see this bill is $12,234. And I kind of broke it down into subsections. But I will say this, I'm gonna bring this out. Just to remove the president, it was $1,651. That was probably better money spent somewhere else. Janelle Ressler's right to know was $3,014. That's a lot of money. My right to know, Kathy Griffin, was $1,640. And let's see,
Well, let me just clarify that that right to know isn't mine, wasn't my right to know.
And one other clarification, I do remember that the president resigned, was not removed, so.
what wasn't removed?
President resigned, wasn't removed. So,
Yeah, no, but the money spent talking to the solicitor was $1,651 in the process. Started $319 and went to $422. I mean, I looked through all the bills.
okay, all right.
That's a lot of money. And that's not include the Don Bell spanking me at $1,058.50 and emails. You all laugh about it, it's not funny. He literally wrote emails trying to get me in trouble for, what, 2-3 months? And didn't work?
To the matter, you've been
No, it's
heard,
not my
heard,
opinion, it's
heard
fact.
and moved on. Any other discussion?
Why do you keep cutting me off,
I'm
Carl?
not cutting you off.
Yes, you are.
made
You're
your
being a
point.
tyrant.
You made your point. Your point being you don't
No,
like the
you're
stock
cutting me
bill.
off.
And you made your point, you pointed out, the actual total amount for right to knows is $4,925 plus $20 to $25 of business time.
I've got
We
the
know that
figures.
amount.
I got the figures here, yeah.
I got them too. Matter of fact, I think we all sort of know. It's an expense, it happens, it's part of the process of running a school board. Now, we've done it, is there anybody else that has any other discussion concerning this? Which this is about the contract, not the previous bills. So hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Form of a motion, recommend approval of F. Recommend approval for the transfer of funds from the general fund to the capital reserve pending the results of the 2023-24 financial audit. The amount will be determined in the fall.
Okay, motion on the board to recommend approval of transferring the funds from the general fund to the capital reserve pending the results of the 2023-2024 financial audit. This amount will be determined in the fall. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion?
Yes.
Okay,
I would like to know, maybe Tom can answer this. I know it's kind of a placeholder, I get it, but with the deficit that we are in right now, how are we gonna be transferring money from the general fund to the capital reserve? Are you anticipating a windfall of money coming in, or we'll have extra money to do it? I'm just asking. Or you don't know, it's speculation?
Yes.
So this is just an open, pending thing in case we do?
it's a blank, lack of better terms, it's a blank check or a blank deposit ticket, depending on which way the finances go. The last 5 or 6 years, it's been a deposit ticket.
We'll also come back to it in the fall as the board will see
Okay,
the official
okay.
amount to be approved.
It usually
It's not
just over.
pass.
Yeah, usually
Okay.
it's-
Yes, usually it follows along with the capital project list and ongoing.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
So it's a place where you can do it and then we'll determine an official.
But it's not
amount.
something you have to do, I mean, it.
No, it has to be done. Has to be done in the physical year that we're in.
Okay.
You have to write the check, you can't backdate the check, basically. You can't backdate the deposit ticket, lack of better terms.
Right, agreed.
But if you don't, in this case, that's what this is. You're either writing, we got a check or a deposit ticket written on today's date, one of which will get ripped up, and basically that's the best way to do it. You have to do it legally within that financial year you're in. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of G of the Utica National Insurance of our general liability insurance and Eastern Alliance as our workers' compensation insurance providers for the 2024-25 school year.
I have a motion on the board for letter G and what he just said.
Second.
Any discussion?
Hey, I want to ask, was any of this sent out for a quote?
Yes, we use a firm that solicits quotes from all
Okay,
companies
that's
in
cool.
this circle.
Okay, so it was. Okay,
Yes.
cool. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing, did you have a question? You took your glasses off. Yeah. That usually means something, that you. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of a motion, I recommend the approval of the special education plan for 2024 through 2029.
Have a motion on the board to recommend approval of the special education plan for 2024 to 2025, presented by Ms. Bianski this month. Do I have a second? Second. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Is there, where was the actual link to read this plan? Because I didn't see one, it was just black. Did you?
And you've got, I think you even got a physical copy.
Did I get a physical copy of it?
Yeah, you-
Oh, okay, that's fine. I thought I got a thick packet on something, but I wasn't sure it was this.
It's specifically in the meeting of 5/7 and 5/13,
5/7?
and 5/13.
5/13. That's cool.
Sorry, I don't have that. Any other questions, any other comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So just for a little clarification, I was gonna be pulled, did not pulled, just.
No, that was pulled.
Okay.
I mean, that was not pulled.
That was not pulled.
No,
So
it's
that
not
we're
pulled.
gonna take care of. Okay, thank you.
So you're on jet.
In the form of a motion, I recommend approval of the releasing of the bid package to purchase a bus in the 2024-25 school year, pending the 24-25 financial budget approval.
I have a motion on the board to approve the release of the bid package to purchase a bus in the 2024-2025 school year, pending approval of the final 2024-2025 final budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments, concerns, questions?
Yeah, I do. In there it says bus 65 and 66 are extra buses. So, my question to you, first question is, do we have a driver for it for full-time?
Okay,
Second,
this is to the release.
The
of
bid,
package,
right,
bid.
but I-
So if your questions are for the bid, I'd appreciate it if we could stick to that, because that's.
Well, I'm just asking, well, what, if we're gonna bid it out, I mean, we're buying the bus, we're bidding it out, right? I mean, was it already approved? Oh, it wasn't?
No, this is the specs. This
Oh,
is just
okay,
the
okay,
specs
so-
It was to release the bid package,
Okay,
yes.
okay, so it wasn't approved yet, okay,
Just, so this will release the bid packet.
okay.
When we get the bid results back, the board will then approve
Decide. Okay,
the
thank
final
you.
then.
Thank
That way they could disprove the buildings up to that at that point.
Very good, thanks.
But it's in the budget.
Yes.
Right, I knew it was in the
Approved
budget,
bus
yeah.
in the budget.
Right.
So it's in the budget.
And since we voted on A, it's actually technically like that. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
On my way to the meeting, I stopped and I looked at the two buses.
Okay,
They're not all that bad.
okay.
When I drove bus for Lincoln Intermediate, I drove my bus for 25 years, and they used it a couple years after that.
Okay,
I don't think they're all that bad, but you can be kept used.
and how many, since you had got the packet, how many miles a year do we drive on those buses? Buses, you got a packet?
Whatever it is.
In your packet was a number. 127,000 miles are driven on those buses every year.
125.
That ain't bad for a diesel bus.
Actually, but it was 120 something. And that bus, and those, a couple of those buses had 200 and some odd thousand miles. Now, that's the whole year, we do 125,000. And the average bus, I mean, how many total miles was on them for the, I can't remember that, number, but that was a huge number. There was a lot, those buses had a whole lot of miles.
They're
And
ready
Lincoln
to-
Intermediate, do they get reimbursed from the state? I mean, I'm sorry that you think that, but I think it's something that, judging from the 8 ball we got in before,
It should be good for at least 300,000.
okay.
So, if we,
That's my feeling.
if we're putting 125,000 miles a year on these
No.
buses.
That's total driving for the whole,
Oh, for all the buses?
all the buses.
Okay,
yes.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Because I was sitting there thinking, wait a minute, that means we gotta have millions of miles on each bus. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And the problem is, we get behind 8 ball, and next year, we might not have the money. The year after that, we might not have the money for the bus.
Don't have the money this year.
We're in better shape this year for that than we are, and we got in before and got real bad. Okay. Any other comment? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No, eight one. Okay.
All right, in the form of a motion, recommend approval of turf and track court to do the athletic feasibility study for the baseball, softball, football practice, band practice, and soccer practice fields, capital project funds.
I have a motion to approve the turf and track court athletic feasibility study. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
My only question, Carl,
Yes, sir.
so this feasibility study is to see about the cost of doing it, or wanting to do it, period?
That one I'm gonna go to Stephen, which I think he's on that committee, and
It's just to do a feasibility study, and get everything we need so we can go to bid.
Go to what?
Bid.
Go to bid. Oh, so we're looking to see if it's doable, or we're trying to figure out specifications to do it?
So the feasibility study is to look at all of our athletic fields to determine what we want to do with them
Okay.
going forward.
Okay, that's better than what you know.
See their status, what stuff we need to upgrade, we can do. Just give us some suggestions. of what we can do for our athletic fields.
And this money is already in the budget,
This
under
is-
capital project?
This is under capital projects.
That's good, okay. Thanks.
okay. All right, any more discussion, comments on this item? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of construction contractors to work on the building projects on Sunday as needed from June 23rd, 2024 to August 11th, 2024.
I have a motion to approve the Sunday work on the project. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm gonna comment first. This primarily is because our policies say that any work, any playtime, any use of the school property on the grounds, the campus, cannot be used by anybody unless they have approval from the board on Sunday, on Sundays. So that's the primary reason for this particular issue. They would be, if by chance they were behind in schedule and wanted to work a Sunday and we didn't approve this now, they wouldn't be able to do it whether they wanted to or not because it would be against our policy. So with that said, is there any other comments or questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
If they do work on Sunday, Carl, and maybe this will go to Tom, maybe, is it an additional cost to the district?
I would assume that it would not be an additional cost because a normal work week being Monday through Friday, and if they can't work Monday because of rain and they pick up Sunday, it would be their normal cost. Now, it would be in their bid,
Just
but
hold on one second. Just so you know, it's a bid done. It's done. What days of the week they can work 100 days in a row, it does not matter at all.
Okay.
So the process is done, the bid is done, the low bidder was chosen, the 4 primes were chosen, it's done. Day of the week doesn't matter.
Okay.
as a matter of fact,
Time of the day doesn't
it
matter.
might, if we don't let them do it, because then they might have to go longer in the schedule,
What would delay the project?
delay the project, so why us not doing it? Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Form of a motion, recommend approval of the tank removal and paving replacement change order.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend the approval of the tank removal and paving replacement change order. Do I have a second? Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Was this bid out?
No, this was not bid out, this was is an emergency change order. We did not know about it until such time that they uncovered it while doing some, of the construction work. This was totally, Victor knows usually where every nut, bolt, wire, conduit, and in this building is, these buildings, this campus. Somehow, somewhere along the line, this is one of the things that we didn't even know about. I do believe it was a oil tanks.
3 of them, they believe, but they only saw 1.
Okay.
And Victor's notes said that they were taken out in previous construction. That's incorrect. That's what the contingency fund is earmarked for during your construction process. Any of those things that are unforeseen take place, they are permitted to move forward. They are not bidded documents.
This isn't something we can wait on either. This holds up projects.
Is that additional cost?
Yes, it is.
96,000.
We'll call it 90 roundabout.
For clarification of the increase, any change order that's 25,000 or less, I approve. Above that, you get to approve. On those, is it additional cost? No, it's not an additional cost to the relationship of the bond. There is $1.8 million put into the bond fund for contingencies. And at this particular point in time, if you would approve this, you would have at least $1.5 million remaining. So no, this is no additional cost. This is already in the construction project.
And we lucked out that, I think the EPA or whatever came in.
They let us get rid of it
There's-
without
yeah.
any strings attached.
We were very lucky on that.
Very lucky.
Okay. Any other concerns, questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Form of a motion, ask for approval for the following donations, an anonymous donation to an LASD student cafeteria amount of $50.
Okay, I have a motion to recommend the approval of an anonymous donation to the IS Student Cafeteria Fund. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
My only comment is I see this $50 donation. I don't see the $1,640 that was costed to the taxpayers.
That's not part of the issue.
I know, but I'm just making a note of it. You said comments, I'm making a note of that.
Well, I'm concerned about the anonymous donation, that's what I'm concerned about.
Well, I'm concerned
Anything
about
else?
the $1,640 that cost the district.
Well, how do we know if it's anonymous? It could have been somebody entirely different, so it's anonymous. Any other concerns?
No, I'd like to thank the individual who donated the funds. We appreciate it.
Whoever it is, thank you. All right, any other comments, concerns, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, move forward.
Okay,
You're up to S.
items,
Right, message.
yeah.
You have to say that, not me.
So, this is just FYI. The treasurer's report on S 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The building budget report, general fund budget year-to-date 2023-24, the encumbrance report, activities report, 5, the cafeterias report, and number 6, void check report.
I didn't pull S, I pulled T.
S is just noted.
Okay, yeah, so you're working on T.
Okay. If anyone has any questions on T 1 through 6, please place a letter and be pulled and voted on separately.
I said
Okay,
T1.
so 1. Was that pulled?
Yeah, I wanted to pull 4.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, form of a motion, recommend approval of T 2 through T 6.
I have a motion on the floor, payment of invoices from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on those items? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, move forward.
The form of a motion. Move the general fund checks, number 1.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the general funds checks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question for Tom. I'm looking at this and I see Sun Coach Lines LLC for $40,897.97. Is that for a year, a month, part of the time? And what is it actually for?
So Coach Line is Lincoln Bus that does our special ed runs.
Okay.
And that's for a month. They bill us monthly.
They bill you monthly, okay. I thought, because it said here JV softball at Kutztown Park, I'm thinking, did it cost us $40,000 to go to JC?
So they do fill in some other things, but they're predominantly our special needs.
Okay, so that was just a misleading statement in the middle. Well, I mean, not misleading, but yeah, it was put in there.
Yeah, so the March 2024 special needs would be, I would say, 99% of where that falls.
99%. Because when I was reading it, I'm thinking, why would it cost $8,000 to go JV softball at Kutztown Park? That's the only question I had. I mean, thanks for clarifying that.
Any other questions to my right? Seeing none to my left, Mr. Shogi.
These are for Tom, just for clarification. Internet services, is that internet or is that something with our computers?
I'm going to defer to Dr. Hill.
Computer supplies, hardware.
Okay, because it was like $4,600. So I'm gonna try to hurry.
Don't worry.
Amazon Capital Services, description is office chairs, then description of purchases, desk mat, as in singular, for $975. We actually paid that for one mat.
We got several, I believe, 6 or 5 chairs and 1 desk mat.
And that's bad.
Yeah. So it was 4 or 5 chairs.
I have one more. Interstate maintenance court, janitorial cleaning for $30,000. Could you tell me, what they cleaned and how long it took them for that amount of money?
We have the majority of our custodians have outsourced to interstates, so they clean all of our buildings. That would be a monthly bill for their services.
Okay.
We have a very hard time getting janitorial staff. Maybe due to supplemental contract, and bring some of that in. Lower that, that's our local bills.
I just want to make sure that one day of cleaning,
Yeah, so usually these are monthly.
okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Lowell, you're up.
Anybody have the items they wish for the
A.
whole?
A and, E, and I'll need another A or two.
And I'll need, D4. G, let's do D.
I want C, F, H,
Slow down, I'm trying to get all of it.
oh, C, F, and H. And L. And F.
Anyone else?
I want a roll call on the superintendent stuff.
They're automatic.
Okay.
Um,
And actually, F and G and H be roll call too.
No,
Why do you keep saying no to me?
it's not you.
It's the tyrant.
There's no reason to.
There is a reason. We're voting on safety
Okay,
officers.
what was A and?
A,
Mental health
C,
therapist.
and well, let him finish.
I cannot believe you just sit there and tell me no, like
Okay,
you run
there's
this
too
thing.
many people talking at one time, and I can't hear what the chair is saying. Could you please repeat what you just said? Thank you.
Which one?
Well, when he was talking, I didn't
No.
hear you.
I was just saying that we're not gonna roll call that. There's the, L and M have to be,
I love how this
And
tyrant
then-
stuff goes.
Tyrant.
Tyrant.
Point of order,
I don't care about point of order. This is a tyrant.
Nick, would you please read your?
hopefully everyone can have decorum in the regular order.
Yeah, right.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of items B, I, J, and K.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of letters B, I, J, and K. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion on B, I, J, and K. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, those motions carry.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the fall 2024 coaches.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor to recommend the approval of the fall 2024 coaches.
Second.
Thank you. Any comment, discussion, concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? I gotcha. One abstention, please.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the listed staff hires.
Nick, can I interrupt you for a second? I'm sorry. I wanted C5 pulled, actually, not all of it. Sorry.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of staff hires 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to approve the following, staff hires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on those? Hearing that I don't have no comment, I congratulate all those, some of which I know personally, so, hope they, long live the district. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of Gabrielle Vax-Mosky as school psychologist effective August 19, 2024.
Approval of recommending number 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I wanted, this school psychologist, where is this at in the 5? Should I be asking Carolyn?
Just,
Well, I mean, is this one of the five or one of the two psychologists we have, I should say?
Yes.
That's one of the two?
Yes.
And and is this person already a district employee?
No.
So are you making her one?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
For clarification, she worked as an outside source. Carolyn did her best to bring her in so that we could save financial costs to the district. It's an easy. Any other discussion?
And it would be about the same thing that occurred with Greg last year.
Correct.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion's carried.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of staff transfers, Corey Zortman, Quinn, and Shelby Forbes. I'm gonna stop saying the names.
Yes, it is. I have a motion on the floor with the following staff transfers, 1, 2, 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Excuse me. All those-
Is that one just 1, 2, 3, or is that 1, 2, 3, 4?
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of motion, recommend approval of Lisa Thompson, Julie Kingsborough, and Angela Bradner transferring for building substitute, day-to-day substitute, effective June 1st, 2024.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the building subs to day-to-day subs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes? Any abstentions? Yes. Here's my paperwork.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the following 2024-2025 supplemental hires. And these are the teacher leaders.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the 2024-2025 supplemental leaders.
Second.
Do I have any discussion?
Yeah. These supplemental leaders, have they been on here before?
They're on the payroll. They're currently teachers that
Oh, okay.
they move. I think we just have to reinitiate them every year. Am I correct?
Okay.
Yeah, but we reinitiate them every year. They have to.
One-year contract.
That's a one-year contract. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Those abstaining?
Yes.
Those ayes?
Aye.
Any opposings?
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the LASD safety officer job description.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the LASD safety officer job description.
Second.
What comments do we have about this? Do we need? Comments, concerns?
I'll just say, we've talked in a work session, I'm not gonna beat it, of course, I've stated my
Job description.
concerns about doing internal, but having two and keeping our students safe is paramount of what we should be focused on, so that's why I'm doing it.
This is the job description. Any other discussion about the job description? Hearing none. One chances to speak now for all of these. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition?
Opposed.
Okay, motion moves 7-2.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the 6th mental health position, mental health therapist.
Recommend approval, if we have a motion on the floor, recommend approval of the 6th mental health position for mental health therapists.
Second.
Now, you second it, all right. Okay. This is, remember, you're approving the 6th. A yes means we add a 6th, a no means we don't add a 6th. So those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Opposed, the opposition has it, it's fine. Okay. All right, you're up.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the behavioral specialist contract for 2024-2025. It's funded by a PCCD grant.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the behavioral specialist contract for 2024-2025, which is funded by a PCCD grant fund. Any discussion?
Yeah, next year, the grant's out, how does it get paid for? I mean, the following year, not the year we're doing now.
Let's deal about that when we deal with the 2025, 2026 budget. Nothing you can say and do. Never know, might have another COVID come along and pay for everything, so.
Somebody knock on some wood.
No, I don't want another COVID.
Hopefully we don't have that.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
No.
Okay, 7-2, motion carries.
In the form of a motion, we're excited to recommend approval of the superintendent contract with Dr. Timothy Mitchell.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the superintendent contract with Dr. Timothy Mitchell.
Second.
She was. Do we have a second?
Mary.
Do we have any discussion?
I just would like to say that Dr. Ritzel, we're excited to have you. And we're excited to transition to your role, and we're very happy.
Any other discussion?
My discussion is, I'm gonna be a surface dweller on this one, because I want to stay away from anything technical. But I feel, and this is how I feel, I can say my opinion. I feel that I have wasted a lot of time selecting the superintendent. I feel that we had a much better candidate, and I feel that I wasted a lot of my time attending these meetings and taking notes. And I just feel like, we just, promoted within, so I'm not happy about it, so.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Carl.
Yes, sir.
I would like to not only welcome you on board to the job that you're going to be doing for the seamless transition that would be the best for the district, best for the children, and for the community, to have consistency and longevity within the district. Thank you for taking the job.
Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
You know, all of us wasted a lot of time. And the gentleman and lady that was in charge of it wasted their time, and we wasted a lot of money with that. And in the long run, I sat there and listened to that gentleman. He had his ducks in a row, and you knew he had his ducks in a row. But yet, you blew it. You didn't vote him.
As we move on into the future, I hope you come to learn that you're not going to win every vote.
I don't care.
That sometimes the board, will sort of shake out and on a vote, and you will lose it.
Well, you even thought he was a nice
Now,
person.
again, I will say, sometimes you don't win the vote. And screaming sour grapes and saying that you wasted, or we wasted our time, we went over and through detail through multiple applicants, interviewed multiple applicants, went through the whole process. That was not a waste of time. All right? Just because it didn't come out the way you wanted it to does not mean it's a waste of time. I mean, you're telling every little kid who plays a game that when they lose that game, it's a waste of time that they practiced. I mean, everything anybody else ever does is a waste